Hello, my fellow pizza aficionados. This game's called Noid, as you might be able to guess. It was sponsored by Domino's Pizza, made by Capcom. I loved playing this game as a kid. It was at my aunt's house. It was this or another one, and I forget what that other one was. It must have been pretty fucking awful. But most importantly, not really, this game was reskinned from another game called Masked Ninja Hanamaru. I might include some footage of that if anybody actually gives a flying hoot. But I'll also point out some various differences. Similarity, though, is that you run, collect scrolls, little ones, big ones, you jump, hit the scrolls, they become power-ups, and you use the power-ups by hitting down and the attack button. It's sort of interesting if you care. There's a 2 multiplier, we'll use that a little later. I'm trying to keep up with the fucking breakneck pace of the Noid's life. For those of you who were not alive in the 80s, which was me, Noid, or the Noid rather, was a mascot for Domino's Pizza, because they decided instead of actually putting any of that advertising money into making any of their inedible piles of cardboard into actual pizzas, they would just make a guy in a fucking claymation bunny suit jump around, and he'd try and kill their pizzas, but he couldn't, because whatever. Who cared? Because their pizza still tasted like fucking dog dicks, and the game is pretty good. So, the moral of the story is, well, the Noid here jumps around, and he uses yo-yo, and he's really a cool guy. In hindsight, I feel like most of us would love to be the Noid. Especially considering he gets to enter pizza contests where he fights against different colored Noids. But what's interesting here is that 3 is a bigger number than 1. Basically how it works is whoever pits the biggest card up gets to eat the difference in pizzas, and then they eat that many pizzas. The one who can fill up their bar fastest will become the winner, but really that's not how you're going to end up winning the majority of these pizza eating contests. Like, he wants to eat 3, but yeah, I'm on a diet, I'm going to eat 2. And he gets to eat 1, because that's the law of averages at work, man. That's what Domino's has worked on for years, and that's why they're such a successful company. But he wants to eat 1, and I'd prefer to eat more, so I'm going to. It's just a back and forth. You'll see I've got those little power-ups there. I've got the Tabasco sauce in the bottom left-hand corner, and the 2 multiplier up in the top left-hand corner. The Tabasco sauce I got from getting that little exclamation point in the stage, so it's important to get those, because without those you are actually relatively unlikely to win these. There really isn't a whole lot to say about them. They come once every other level, so the 1st, 3rd, 5th level, that's when you can expect to see them. They're not exactly that interesting, so I'm going to really struggle to think of anything to talk about with them, because they're also really fucking boring. Especially considering the method you'll have to utilize to actually win the stages later on is completely asinine and not fun at all. It's the complete antithesis of any kind of fucking strategy. It's really sad, and I feel very bad about that. There's not a whole lot to say later, just as there's tremendously little to say now. I feel like they're not really amping you up for any various difficulty about these. You'll just notice I'm just using my lower cards because, as you might have also noticed, the opponent here has tremendously better cards than I do. But we're going to use our 2 multiplier in our last 3, get a giant pizza, counts for 5, and win this fucking thing. But the whole thing here is the opponent always has better cards than you do, and I don't know. It's not as easy to beat them, so it's not as simple as just knowing what number is a bigger number than 1. It's interesting enough that from a water level we go straight to an ice level. I don't know why that'd be interesting, but it doesn't really make a difference. Lots of fun stuff to do in the ice rink, but be careful. There's something you really need to know about this level, and it's singles only. Of course I could play it then. Anyway, whatever. The ice rocks are really pretty easy. They just split into 3. You want to double back when they start showing up. Really not too tough. And I'm afraid I'm not going to show you the majority of the level. There's a little trick here. In a few of the levels there are. And be careful in this one. You want to jump at an angle or else you'll start sliding off that platform. But just always throw your yo-yo around and you'll get little hidden power-ups like that 3 multiplier. Now jump up here, and you enter into a top secret warp. So fucking secret, there's literally no actual evidence on screen that it's anything other than a tile. And the guy tells you to hit moles. Don't do that. Actually, just hit the mad agents. I don't fucking know. And hit him for 2 points. But if you hit the moles, you actually lose points. And interestingly enough, in Masked Ninja Hanamaru, these were not evil villains, and that was a bullet. If you hit it, it explodes. It's probably a bomb, actually, but whatever. You lose a point if you hit the mole, blah blah blah. But yes, the point is that in Masked Ninja Hanamaru, these things were also here, but those were penguins and not people, because I guess it's okay to kill people, but hitting penguins is sad. Now, there are a lot of these hidden areas. I don't plan to visit all of them, because they're sort of fucking hard to find and obscure. You gotta continue for beating them. You lose a life if you don't. And now fucking Noid's on a skateboard, because it's the 90s. Why the fuck wouldn't he be? Kid's just like Bart Simpson. I would love to buy t-shirts with all sorts of catchphrases with him on them. And I don't know. I don't really get this. It's interesting enough. There are a lot of gimmicks. I guess really the argument I should be making is why this was in the original game, because if you play the Masked Ninja Hanamaru game, all of this is just pretty much a port. All of the enemies, I believe all of the enemies, most of the enemies are different. Instead of throwing a yo-yo, you throw your hawk at people, which is significantly fucking cooler, but I digress. Killing clowns on unicycles, originally they were ninjas or something. But this game itself is just kind of strange. It's the NES. Oh, fucking mother. Whatever. That's how you die, though. He freaks out. He looks like he's having a really bad time. And you lose your power-up, unfortunately. Sort of. You can't use it while you're on the skateboard, so it doesn't matter. It's really clunky how you hit enemies on the skateboard. You have to kind of hit them with the wheels. You end up doing a lot of double backing. At least that's how I do it. So it's not one of the best games. There's a lot of unfairness, but really, it's all just practice, that's all. It's not that bad. Just a little tricky. And I mean, it's on the fucking Nintendo. What do you expect? It's a Capcom game, too, and Capcom can make some tricky games sometimes. It ain't no Battletoads or nothing, but it's hard. Whatever, it doesn't really matter. You really don't... There isn't a whole big purpose to this level, it's just to collect some power-ups, since we're gonna do another pizza contest. Now, don't go down there, that's too big of a jump for me. Just gonna chill up here, be a lot safer. And we can get this, I guess, doesn't really matter. You see, you gotta be careful on that last jump, too, because if you're not rushing, then you're barely gonna make it. Another good old pizza time, and this is probably the last time that I'm gonna win this the way that I assume the developers intended you to win it. And the only problem is that your opponent has a shitload of pizzas now that are pretty high caliber. So basically what you want to do is keep feeding the beast, wait until he gets 1s and 2s, then just use your multipliers then. You're going to want to save your multipliers, unless, I don't know, whatever, it doesn't make a difference. Do what you feel comfortable with, I don't care, but that's how I tend to do things. And there is another general way to win these, and I will talk to you about that soon enough. But yeah, wait for 2s and 1s. I kind of got a little antsy there, and I just wanted to eat some pizza. I was fucking hungry, don't blame me for that. Now he's got a 2. You can, if you want, use a 3, but I'm going to use a 1, so he can eat his little pizza. But you just want to be careful not to let him get his bar too high. It really isn't that difficult to keep him from winning, since, you know, he has an entire additional bar he has to use. But just toss out your 2s and 1s until you're prepared to use your 3s and multiply them and all that shit. Now when he uses a 4, don't be afraid. I try and just keep it so that he's only eating 1 at any given time. It makes it a lot easier to keep track of. He's not gonna fucking beat me that way. It's really not complicated at all, and I just get kind of fucking bored of it. It's there's never, it doesn't introduce anything new to you. I should mention that if you beat him without him getting a single pizza point or whatever, then you get a continue. And that works pretty shitty in here, because, I mean, if he lands on a certain number, there's a very little chance of you ever actually, like, see, use the pepper here, and he doesn't even eat the 5. But yeah, if he gets a fucking point, or he's gonna get a point almost every single time, so getting a continue is goddamn near impossible. It worked better in the Japanese one, because what you're doing is not gaining points. Both of you and your opponent are having like a ninja duel or something, and you lose points. And instead of the pepper keeping him from killing your points, you use it to recover your health. So it's a lot easier to beat him with a full health bar or whatever. This is really convoluted, but whatever. It's just fucking pizza. I don't know. I just want to be done with this, really. Just get a 1, thank you. I'm gonna use a multiplier and just fucking end this crap. Sorry, there isn't a whole lot to say about these. They're very, very tedious. The game itself is plenty fun, but that's just fucking endless fun, really. Who doesn't love these? Really nice and enjoyable times. But, as for pizza, I'll see you next time, because this is just fucking... Don't eat fucking Domino's, it's all awful. See you later.